I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. It is 6:01, Tuesday, February 3rd. We're at Granbury City Hall, 116 West Bridge Street in Granbury, Texas. Remember, you can watch this at www.granbury.org/live. So we have now called to order. I will note that Mr. Greg Corrigan, Councilman Greg Corrigan, is not here tonight. He has called in ill, and of course he gets passed on that because we didn't want him bringing whatever he has up here to the dais. So I'm going to go ahead now and open up with Pastor Kerry Dyer of Lakeside Baptist Church. Pastor Dyer. Then we will do the pledge right after that.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of this community and the opportunity to live and serve here. Bless these leaders, our mayor and city staff. Give our council wisdom and discernment as they deliberate on the matters before them tonight. And Lord, may their decisions be for the good of our citizens and promoting unity and peace in Granbury. Thank you, Lord, for your love, grace, and guidance in our lives. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. First to the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Very good. Well, thank you for all for coming out on this 75-degree day. Wonderful. We're going to move right to number 4, proclamation and presentation. We have no presentations tonight, but we do have proclamations for the encouraging statements and to recognize city staff. I'm going to turn it to Mr. Kaufman.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. We've got a good list of appreciation for a lot of folks today after the ice storm, and I'm always grateful for the opportunity to share how our staff goes above and beyond. And I guess a good example is last Thursday night, a water line and a valve broke on North Brazos Street near the post office. The city workers, Nicholas, Landon, Caleb, Nathan, Juan, Jose, Cody, under the supervision of Dawson, went the extra mile. They repaired the break while minimizing the number of residents and businesses without water. Finished around 2:30 Friday morning. Temperature's 12 degrees. So can you imagine fixing a water leak in 12-degree weather with the wind blowing? Those guys deserve some praise. So that's just one example of what's going on. Also, our other crews, street and other crews, worked tirelessly to keep our roads and intersections as safe as we could. Even though ice continued to fall, we continued to scatter sand and salt and other debris on the road to try to keep as safe as we could. We treated major intersections as we could. The entrances to the grocery stores, the EMS, Texas EMS parking area where they get those big trucks out and enter the road, we tried to keep that safe. Fire department, police department. We applied over 100 cubic yards of material. That's a lot of material, 100 cubic yards. So one of those dump trucks typically holds about 7 yards of material. So that kind of shows you. And even when it froze, I mean, you put stuff in there that's wet and it freezes, and then they have to get hammers and shovels out and break up that ice so it'll continue to go through that spreader. And so they did that in the cold weather too. And then with the high demand on electricity, to our knowledge, we had no failures. We had some folks that their fuses blew, and our crew still went to their house and showed them how to fix the breakers and move on, so they ended up with heat throughout the event. Our water and wastewater facilities continued to work continuously with no interruptions. I might add that we turned on the standby generators at both of those plants, the wastewater treatment plant and the water treatment plant, and ran off of the grid so that we would not be worried about if the failure did occur with power that those services would stop. So we ran those for total of about $22,000 worth of diesel to keep those machines running and keep those plants operational. So during the high demand, we also procured extra electricity through the ERCOT grid at a higher rate to save money so that we wouldn't be caught shorthanded during the actual event. And so we were able to hedge our purchasing a little bit, and that was no small feat. Thank you to the finance department for working with me on that. And it was truly a teamwork event, and all departments pulled together. A lot of people weren't able to get out that work in administrative. We closed City Hall for a short period of time, and we were here as quickly as possible to open up and be open all of our offices as quickly as possible. So I was just a lot of appreciation for those guys. Also, I want to recognize our tourism department and the work that they've done behind the scenes, and we are now declared by the governor's office tourism-friendly, Texas certified community. And so that took a lot of paperwork, applications, interviews, working with the governor's office to receive that award. Let me just read a couple of things from the governor's news release that came out. And by the way, he will be here, or there will be a governor's representative here at our tourism-friendly event that is tentatively scheduled for May 12th. If you guys would put that on your calendar, if you're able to attend at 9 a.m. We're going to recognize all of our tourism team at the conference center. But let me just pick something here. Here's a quote from the mayor that the governor used. Granbury is proud to be a celebration capital of Texas. We're equally proud to now exceed the requirements to be recognized as a tourism-friendly, Texas-certified community. This designation reflects our ongoing commitment to the hospitality, customer service, and creating a welcoming experience for every visitor. Lots of quotes were given by him. Senator Birdwell, for my hometown of Granbury to be named a tourism-friendly, Texas-certified community is quite fitting and is often called the best historic town in America, and was designated by the legislature as a celebration capital of Texas in 2023. I'm proud of everyone involved in their efforts for earning these recognitions, and know this type of designation cannot happen without the extensive efforts of the local community. Congratulations to Mayor Jarrett and the entire City Council and Granbury community, as their dedication to preserving history, celebrating culture, and welcoming visitors has earned them this outstanding achievement. Greg Abbott was quoted in this release that tourism is critical to both our local and state economies. Travelers to and within Texas generate almost $200 billion in economic impact and support 1.3 million jobs across the state. Every region of this great state offers endless opportunities to experience the natural beauty, rich history, that's us, and the true hospitality, that's us, that draws visitors to our communities. I congratulate the City of Granbury and Visit Granbury on earning this designation. All Texas communities are encouraged to apply to become a tourism-friendly, Texas-certified community to further grow local tourism and jobs across our great state. Granbury is also a film-friendly, music-friendly, and tourism-friendly certified community. Those are some of our badges that we've earned through the tourism department. So with that said, we'll move on to the next one. We've got some slides that are put together. The Shanley Park Association is in the final stage of creating the gateway entrance to the Shanley Sculpture Garden just outside the window right here. You can see that beautiful picture there with the sculpture provided by the Ken Hill Foundation. And the value of that sculpture is about $700,000 donated by the foundation. While Shanley Park is not owned by the city, the hike and bike trail runs through that park as a city amenity. The entryway and the Legacy Texas Bronze are gifts from Lake Granbury Area Beautification Council and the First National Bank. So it's all done with no city funds. This is a great example of the community-led effort that enhances our public spaces. So hats off to those folks. And then I just want to do a little administrative bragging that the city's been approved. Went to a meeting last Thursday, I did, in Austin, where the TxDOT Commission met and awarded the city $16.8 million loan to fund the utility relocation and the aesthetic improvements tied to the TxDOT 377 project. This financing allows us to move forward more quickly and at a lower interest rate of 3.99% interest. reducing the burden to our taxpayers. Staying on schedule matters. TxDOT needs to see steady progress from us moving these utilities, and this approval helps get the project on track for 2027 groundbreaking. Probably in January it'll happen of next year. The cost of this has been planned for over the last 2 years, and it's part of our capital improvement program, and it's not in our annual operating budget. The city also, as I've bragged in the past about this, we received a $57.8 million grant from the Texas Water Development Board. That money was actually put into our escrow account on Wednesday of last week, and we are already spending that money towards the engineering and design of a new water treatment plant that will be located near the police department on the Loop 567. Great improvements are making. We're doing all this so that we continue to provide clean, safe, great tasting water while significantly reducing the cost of burdens on the residents. This is a $100 million project, and we've got $57.8 million given to us through an emerging contaminants program that the state offered. And I will say that we were ecstatic to find out that we were able to receive 100% of the grant funds for this cycle, because we were the only governmental or utility company in the state that applied for these funds. So hats off to our team for getting that done. And I will stop with that. Thank y'all. Appreciate everything that y'all do. We've got a great staff, a great community, and we look forward to enhancing and making things better every day. And we want to serve you guys with excellence, and I believe this is a good example of how we do that.
Council, he didn't have to stop there, so if you have things that you'd like to mention? No? Yeah. Well, I guess you did pretty good. All right. Okay, we will move right on then to public comments on agenda items for non-public hearing agenda items. Ms. Walker, we have no one has signed up for that today. We'll move right to the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are routine or previously discussed items, will be approved with one motion. However, should a member of the City Council wish to discuss any item, said item may be removed from the consent agenda and considered under the deliberation agenda. Gentlemen, ladies, do you have anything that you'd like to have pulled off? I'm going to ask if Mr. Kaufman just would give us a brief update on the 6.2 Jesse James edition, simply because that's been around for quite a while, and I want to make sure everybody is remembering what that one is all about before we go.
So back in about 2018, the land was acquired by a new company. It was previously called the Jesse James Edition. It was going to be a venue for weddings and things like that, and those folks would... Thank you. I'll start over. So the Jesse James subdivision is located on Moore Street across from the senior center. And back in about 2018, the developers bought this property and have been working towards putting this development together. Obviously, COVID came, the moratorium came, and the sewer moratorium, which prevented them from moving forward too quickly. And so now they're moving forward, and they have moved forward. The plat's been approved pending the approval of this facilities improvement agreement that's on your agenda here. But I will say that the lot sizes, they're patio homes. Most of the lot sizes are 5,000 feet. They were voted on back in 2018 to be that size. 2019, I don't know the exact date, but it was a concept. If you remember, they wanted them all to be small, and we negotiated and got most of them in the R7 category, 7,000 square foot. But they will be patio homes, and so we hope to hit a price point for our citizens in that area that is needed. So, if you want to take it off the agenda, we're happy to answer any questions. So, just a little color there on 6.2.
Okay. All right. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, motion to approve the consent agenda as published.
Mr. Obadiah?
Second.
Mr. Wadley makes second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. I hear no nays, so that will pass 6-0. I hear no nays. Aye? Oh, five. It didn't take me long, did it? 5-0. All right, let's move to 7.1. This is a public hearing. We'll hear from staff first, and then I'll open up the public hearing. Consider adopting ordinance number 26-08, approving the request of Vincent Inc. to amend plan development / light commercial zoning. It's located at 5260 East US Highway 377. Mr. Kaufman?
I would like to introduce our newly appointed interim Director of Planning, Cody Nolan, to take over this agenda item and share with you all the facts. Thank you, Cody.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Like you said, this is at 5260 East US Highway 377, and this is right at M&M Ranch Road and Fall Creek Highway. It's on the north side of 377. It's 13.758 acres in total for the PD zoning, the current PD zoning that was approved back in the late teens. And there is a plat that has been submitted for review for this, and the request for tonight is to change the approved site plan that was accompanied with the original PD zoning that was for a CEFCO originally. It's going to stay PD zoning. It's just amending the site plan and amending a couple of the variance requests that are housed within that PD zoning. And this aligns with the 2025 comprehensive plan, identifying this as commercial. And these are from our new comp plan from 2025 that are the RIP sheets that kind of help y'all make an informative decision when it comes to comp plan and zoning. Like I said, this one meets the zoning meets this comp plan. This is the breakdown of what commercial looks like and what's to be expected in commercial future land use designations. And this is the proposed site plan. The actual property for this proposed QT gas station is just along the darkened dotted boundary on the hard corner right there. They will have access onto 377 via that access easement that's shown, and then one drive up on M&M Ranch. The difference between this and CEFCO actually had large truck parking and fueling at the same time, whereas this is just going to be for small cars, passenger vehicles, instead of the large 18-wheelers. And this is the variance table that's proposed. On the left-hand side, that's the zoning standard, and on the right-hand side is the proposed variance or deviation from that they're requesting to be applied to this PD zoning. And these are the architectural renderings. And this is the proposed landscape plan. On December 30th, 2025, city staff mailed out 6 public notices to all property owners within 200 feet and on the municipal tax roll within 200 feet. And notice was published on December 22nd in the Hood County newspaper as required by state law. We've had 0 letters in favor and 0 against. There was also, with the new state law from September 1 of 25, a sign posted in front of the property that says that there is a zoning change requested, as well as the city's website. And city staff recommends approval of the request for the PD zoning amendment, subject to the standards and conditions attached in the ordinance exhibit. At January 12th, 2026, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval with the conditions by a unanimous 5-0 vote. And the voting options: approve the zoning change or deny the zoning change.
Council, questions? No? I'm going to go ahead and open up a public meeting, public hearing. I see no one standing, getting up. I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing then. Council, no other questions? Do I hear a motion to approve or not approve?
So moved.
Okay. Mr. Oler makes a motion, we approve? To approve.
I second it.
Okay. Councilwoman makes a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. I hear no nays. That will pass 5-0. Thank you, council. All right. Move to 7.2. Discuss, take action on a request from Texas Emergency Medical Service, EMS, for funding assistance on the new fire safety EMS station located on Ruth Smith Drive, and consider authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with Texas EMS to formalize the decisions on this request.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess it was about a week before the ice storm, Director of our EMS, Texas EMS, Ricky Reeves, came by and we visited, and I asked him to put his request in an email with any kind of information and documents that we could to provide you. They're in your packet. And at this time, I will turn it over to our Director of the Texas EMS, Ricky Reeves, to walk through a slideshow that he's put together. And this is a pretty big deal. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, City Manager. We've been working on this project for several years. A little history. Back in '23, the county had some excess ARPA funds that they were trying to use to 501c3 business groups. And we applied for 3 stations to be able to spread out throughout the city to help us with our response times. And the county awarded us $3.5 million to build 3 fire stations, EMS fire stations. When I did the proposal, everywhere I looked, looking at today's growth, looking at 5 years, 10 years, and 20 years, we found 3 locations we need to be at. And when I did the data, we also recognized that the fire departments need to be in those same locations with us. And so we were able to come up with a 4-base station that's actually a regular fire station that has sleeping quarters and has all the preparations for their turnout gear and cleaning of their gear and storage of their equipment. And we originally had land allocated by the school district there at back of school. Same thing at Acton Elementary. But due to 2 failed bonds, they pulled back that offer. And so we worked with Mr. Durant and his land there at Commerce Center for 2.5 acres. Spent some time, and he gifted us 2.5 acres there next to the CPS building. We also have land that we did with the lease with HOA there in Indian Harbor that we're building now. It's about 80% complete. And then we purchased some land, Texas EMS purchased land there in Acton for the 2nd or the 3rd station. We have another slide.
You got a clicker up there?
Oh, sorry, I do. So Texas EMS is a nonprofit. We've been here since 2001. We've been the 911 provider for Hood County all these years. We do hospital transfers. We did about 9,600 calls this last year for services in Hood County. Predominantly, most of those are in the city of Granbury. We have a board of directors that we're governed by. They're prominent people in the community. We have people from the school, people from the city, the county, the power plant, the fire marshal, and others. We operate 5 full-time ambulances that we run 24/7. We have about 37 full-time staff of medics and EMTs. We talked about this. So 2211 Ruth Smith is in the Commerce Center, and then the 5905 is out on Acton Highway just past School Road there on the right. There's some acreage there. I think there's a new subdivision in 22 acres that are coming right beside us. And then the other one is there at the entry into Indian Harbor HOA on the right down Contrary Creek. This is a rendering of what the building was like. It's a metal building. It has 4 ambulance bays, about a little over 12,000 square foot. This shows the outside of it a little bit. And this is kind of hard to see without zooming in, but basically everything to the right is living quarters, is both split so we have EMS separate from fire. We have a large community room that can be used by the community. It can be used by, if they want to put the voting booths in or anything like that. It's a training room for the fire department, for EMS and others. Then we have 4 bays that we have all of our apparatus in, and then on the far left of the screen is where their turnout gear goes, their washing and drying of that gear. There's a workout room for them down there as well, so it keeps everything separate from the living side of the quarters. It's got a kitchen, a day room. It's got 5 rooms or offices or bedrooms, whichever they dedicate that to and the use. We have 4 just for the EMS side. We will use 1 bay for 2 trucks, and then the other 3 bays will be for Granbury Fire Department. And this one we'll share with De Cordova and the one in Acton, and we'll share with Indian Harbor, the one in Indian Harbor. So what we did is we had to get this replatted to get the 1 acre lot next to the CPS and the 1 acre next to it converted out of that into our 2.12 acres. We did that last year. This is the replat. Since we sent the documents into the building to acquire permits, we had the fire lanes had to be replatted, so that's what this replat here is. Currently, our engineer's in the middle of that. I think we've already sent in the application for that. This shows a site plan of where the building's going to be. The entrances have changed. One of the things we run across, one of the entrances to the right was right next or covering one of the sewer drains or the water runoff drains, and so we've now converted that into one central in and out egress, not the 2. This is just another rendering of that. So the request that we asked from the city is to see if we can have a waiver in all the building permit fees that go along with the project, and then waiver all the water, sewer, and connection fees that go with that, being that we have limited amount of funds allocated to this building project. And again, this was awarded to us in '23. Since then, we've had a gigantic increase in steel, gigantic increase with the President's initiative of adding the additional fees. We were lucky enough to buy the steel a couple years ago and have that in storage, but our cost of just construction just went through the roof. Example, concrete was originally bid out at $8, and now it's somewhere close to $12. So these different increases in prices is kind of absorbing our fees that we have allocated. We're asking for assistance with the city to help with the facility, the FIA, to connect a sprinkler system, which this requires. And you can see the cost of that, $38 and some change to do all the connections there. And being that this is also required to be sprinkled, we've asked the city if there's a possibility to assist us with the installation of the sprinkler system and connection to that. That's all I have. Any questions?
Staff? Council?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Overdeer?
Okay, so once this building is constructed, who's going to own it?
So Texas EMS owns the building, and we have it set up in our bylaws that if something should fail with Texas EMS and we become insolvent, it goes back to the county.
Okay, and so EMS will pay for the insurance?
Yes, sir. It'll be just like my other buildings. We'll absorb everything that goes along with the ownership and operation of the building.
Okay, and so the upkeep and maintenance will be paid for by EMS?
Yes, sir. Okay. The only thing we're doing with the other departments, and we do the same with Granbury Wood, is to look at the square footage and split up the cost of those costs amongst square footage so that the fire department would pay a share of that along with EMS. Being the other thing we tried to do with these and moving so fast on these is the 144 construction. So once we start the 144 construction, for us to get out anywhere 144, or it goes all the way to homes, trying to get up and down homes to get access to that side of the property. The fire department I talked to Chief Hohan, they're going to look at moving into that building sooner than they would just because of access to and from with response times.
Anybody else? Mr. Wadley?
Are all three buildings the same plan? All three
Exactly. The only
sites?
difference between Indian Harbor and the other two is it has 2 more bays.
Indian Harbor has 2 more bays?
It has 2 more bays. It's got 6 bays total, but everything else is identical.
So on the other 2, is the county providing the same kind of assistance that
Yeah.
you're requesting of us in the one in the city?
Well, it being in the county, there's not a requirement to be sprinkled, and it's not a requirement to have some of the fees. Right now, we're dealing with TxDOT on the one in Acton. Other than that, we've not had any issues, other than bringing water from A-Bud into the building there in Indian Harbor.
In the one in Acton, the intersection, I mean, the address shows the intersection of Highway 4 and Fall Creek Highway.
Maybe
There-
5095, so I can't say
So
it for.
I just, because I didn't know where that one was, I just put it in, and it's.
So it's
it
right
shows
next
that
to it's
intersection
right
there.
next to where that archery shop is across from the Leap Market.
Okay.
Just as you pass School Road, it's right there on the right. There's been a sign there forever. There's an oil well back in there, and we own the 2 acres in front of that. They're on the east side, and then there's a 70-home subdivision coming in there on the right side.
And that was just for background information for me to help understand the
Sure.
whole project. My specific questions on this, I guess, is this is like it's going to be a really long-term deal between you guys and the city and apparently the county,
Correct.
like a partnership. I think we almost need to have I don't know if a workshop's the right word, a time when we can sit down with you all and with our fire department, to see how they would utilize it and really understand, well, we have 3 stations. One of them is space that we're allowed to use that we don't pay anything for, just because that guy works with us that way. The other 2 we own. And it's there's nothing in here about how a partnership would work. And I think that needs to really be spelled out, like who's responsible for what. You've requested specific dollar amounts. I want to be able to see that, the whole project can be completed for the other money available, that the money's not going to run out. To me, there's not enough information here to make a decision tonight.
Totally understand.
Are you on a timeline? I know you've had.
Yes, sir. All 3 buildings have to be completed by the end of this year. So we've been in this process for quite some time to get to where we're at today. So we've been with civil engineers on both the one in Acton and the one with the city for several months, and replatted once, and we had a delay with Durant in acquiring that land to begin with, and once we got that, we moved fast on it. That land, he has a deed restriction also, that we have to have a building on it within a year, or it reverts back to him.
And that deadline for that year is the end of this year?
I would say so. I think we did it just past the start of the year.
Okay.
How long is the estimated construction time?
So once we have permits to move, less than 6 months, we should be finally done. The one in Indian Harbor has been going a little over 4 months.
Okay.
And it's about 80, the electricians are in it, so we're about 80% done with it.
And you'll have volunteer fire department and EMS in it.
Yes,
County
sir.
volunteer fire department.
Yes, sir. Indian Harbor Volunteer Fire Department will be in the one in Indian Harbor. De Cordova, it'll be a second station for them, and then this will be whatever station that before for Granbury.
Let me address your request at the top. It says variances for sidewalks and the landscaping. Those were addressed and granted in the plan development for the Commerce Center back in 2008. So as I said in my email, I think that was taken care
Right.
of. So those aren't anything you need to worry about. Those have already been addressed. I think the bottom line is the financial assistance and the waiver of the fees and the things like that. So let me just ask this question. Is it going to be all right if we decide to do this, and we probably work this through an agreement, that we actually take bids on this firework and do it and pay for that through the city funds to meet our procurement requirements? And to be frank with you, we think we can get it done for less money than what this other brand is advertised for. So that's been a comment that was internal with my fire marshal and our fire department. So that's something to consider too, that we would want to, I'm assuming you've got plans already designed for this fire suppression system?
We've got the base layer of it, but we'll
Okay.
have to get whoever that acquires the bid to be able to lay out the piping and lay out for that.
All right. I think Dr. Wadley's right on track. We probably need to have a mutual meeting with the fire department and you and whoever you want, your organization, obviously the city, to sit down and hash through some kind of an agreement if we're going to move forward with this. But and I told Ricky that before the meeting, that we would probably need to draft some type of agreement, and he agreed with that. So we're not asking for something that's earth-shattering from him there. We do have some concerns, just to show up and write a check to pay for this financially. It's not in our budget, and it's going to require a budget amendment, and probably be taking it straight from our reserve funds, from the general fund. And so we need to consider that as we move forward. But they're going to have to, as spelled out in here, there's going to have to cut the street and tie onto a water main that's under the street and bring that back, put in a vault for the fire sprinkler system, and then the riser and the riser room. Is there a riser room in those plans?
Yes, sir.
I'm sure there are. And then the last question I've got is, are you planning on finishing out this building with the walls and everything that you got drawn there for that same $1.something million?
Yes, sir.
Is this a 34,000 square foot building? How big is it?
It's a little over 12,000.
12,000. Okay.
Right now, with the Indian Harbor, we're under budget now with the 80%, and it's got more in it than we've added to the other stations.
So are you putting sleeping quarters in those with no sprinkler system?
Yes, sir, we are. We're putting fire alerting systems, but there is no sprinkler system.
Sir, I have one small question. Do you see any problem with there being only one entrance and exit out of this whole facility?
The Gatlin is our architect. Between him and the city engineers, they've been discussing that, and the BHB, the engineers that we have, and so far there's not been an issue with that.
Okay, so it's going to be much
It's a lot wider. It's probably going to be as wide as that center island is, or a little bit wider.
40 foot or more.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can get in and out with two different vehicles if you have to.
Perfect. Thank you.
Just to make it clear, the fire code requires sleeping quarters in a facility like this to have sprinkler system. We enforce that. The county doesn't. So that's the difference in the sprinkler system requirements.
So you have to have all three completed by the end of the year.
Yes, sir.
So you're building them simultaneously, correct?
Yes, sir.
So you already have your contractor and constructor,
Yes,
that's
sir.
all lined up already?
Yes, sir.
Materials and all that's
Yes, sir.
not an issue? Okay.
Yeah, we bought the building steel for all three buildings nearly 2 years ago.
Oh,
Before the tariffs and before the steel started increasing price. And we bought all the doors and all the motors and everything for all the doors. There were like 28 of them, the man doors. We bought all that and have it in storage and have had for several years. Just try to beat the pricing that we had at the time we originally priced out the build. So tariffs didn't hurt us there, but everything else did.
Well, I know that during this recent ice storm, we had one of our fire stations was down to one space heater in the Bay Area, and we had crews go there and repair those heaters. So that what that did is that revealed to me that we've got some equipment internally in our other fire departments that we need to address that hasn't really been brought forth. And so part of this conversation that we're going to have apart from you is to find out what is lacking in our existing facilities that we might need to address along with your request as well, because it's not good for the heater to go out and only one heater be heating that whole Bay Area when we've got three that should have been working. And so our guys were able to go there during the ice storm and fix that heater, but It was out for about 12 hours till we could get the parts out of Fort Worth. And so fire department, work with us on a building assessment of needs that you may have, and work with us as we move forward to make this decision. What we don't want to do is sit up here and say, oh, this is great, let's just throw this money at this, and neglect what we're supposed to be taking care of already. Bad for us to do that, so we need to take care of both.
And I'm the guy that gave Chris the 34,000 square feet instead of the 12,000. And now I see how big the lot is, so I quit
Yes, sir.
measuring the lot instead of the building. So it's a 12,000 square foot building.
Yeah, 75 foot wide. I believe that building's 192.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's a very good price.
And we've been over it many, many times, even today's pricing, to make sure we're able to do what we can do with it. And so far, we're there.
Okay. So do we have any idea how much we are talking about here, or a range?
Do you have a total amount of all those numbers in your head?
I think it runs right around 100,000 if you do both of those. But again, we know those are the prices given to me for those quotes, and we feel that Kevin and I have talked that it can be done cheaper by other ways. But yes,
Okay.
The 39,000 was what the engineers give us for estimate pricing, just to ballpark without actually bidding it, to do all those connections. So that's from Beard Hampton.
Okay. So how would we make a motion here?
Well, let's do one more thing. We have Tim Hallman here with the Granbury
good.
Volunteer Fire Department. Would you like to chime in and represent the fire department? Matt's at home watching this, or at work watching it, but you're certainly welcome to give us the fire department's perspective. Yes, sir. If you would, share the mic.
I'm Tim Hallman. I'm a Station 1 captain with the Granbury Volunteer Fire Department. Apologize, Matt, the chief is at a conference currently, and our assistant chief is on duty at his other fire department job. So we fully support this station. Currently, we know there's pretty dynamic growth going to happen out in that loop area with future homes coming down the pike. I'm on planning and zoning, so I've seen what's coming down in that area. But we are fully on board with, as Councilman Wadley stated, about having a written type agreement, partnership, cost sharing. We're ready to hit the ground running as soon as possible with that agreement. We'll be right there in that workshop as soon as it's ready to happen. I mean, if it was happened tomorrow, we'd be there tomorrow. So. But we do support the station. Like I said, with that growth that's coming out in that area, we don't have a lot of volunteers that live in that area, but that's because maybe that's pretty rural land out there still. But as we all know, a lot of that's been platted, and future homes are all coming in that airport area and all the way up to Bacchus. All that area has been platted for future home development.
Do we have sufficient apparatus to support?
Oh, we have more than sufficient apparatus for it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Matter of fact, it would be good. We are busting at the seams right now at Station 1 and Station 2 for space. So.
And I might add that y'all paid for a study, and we've done the study to look at our fire system and the locations, and this is one of the locations recommended in that study that we did about 3 years ago. So we're planning ahead by doing that and knowing what we're trying to accomplish. Another aspect is when Highway 377 construction begins next year, it's going to be difficult to go from Station 1 other than right through the square to respond to the eastern side of town, other than Station 2 or Station 3 responding. But the Station 1 is kind of limited on access, and then the response time to Abe's Landing and those other areas out there could be improved if we can properly get the volunteers to respond to that location at the right time. So
Correct.
those are some positives that I would like to throw into the location.
And one thing I'll add is in the whole development of this project and of the building schematic and footprint, I've been with Chief Hohan on that since day one. So all the fire chiefs and I have met on each one of these stations and come to the agreement the way we've got it set up. So that EMS is actually separate from them so we don't disturb each other because we'll be there 24/7. And when they're there, and when they're not, it doesn't impact anything. So we've been in agreement with this since day one.
We currently have 4 new apparatus that are on order that are coming in: 2 quick attacks, a Quint, and an engine that was just approved. So we've got this new equipment coming in. So we've got to make room. We
still got to get rid of that old equipment that's 20-plus years old.
Correct. We
Yeah.
do have a few things that will be ready to retire, but we've got this new stuff coming in. We've got to juggle that location space, and we've got current apparatus that then can backfill into that station. So we do have the apparatus available.
Other comments, questions?
I would suggest moving forward, why don't we put together a meeting, and if there's a council member or mayor that wants to participate in that meeting, maybe we could do it. And I would propose a date a week from Monday, because he's off on Mondays. And so we could do a time of your choosing. Do you want to set the date now, when you'd be available, Ricky? So that would be that's a holiday. I'm available on the 16th, but City Hall will be closed, but we could meet here, or we could meet at the firehouse or wherever. So really any time that day would work great for myself and Dr. Wadley, I believe. Are you going to be in town?
Yes, sir.
On President's Day?
We have a meeting next week.
Whatever time you want to set up, if you want to send me an invite, then that'd be great.
All right.
We'll meet here if you want to, if it's convenient.
Okay. Is there a time that Matt would be available on a Monday better? Is morning or afternoon or evening?
I can't speak for him. I don't know what his schedule is. We'll have a representative there of
Okay.
either the assistant chief or
Is there a time that works better for y'all?
there's no.
I'll send out an invite, or Michael Ross will,
Yeah.
and we'll get something planned. And then we can bring it back the following meeting in March 3rd. If we come up with a resolution of how we want this agreement to read, and everybody's in agreement, so.
Okay.
So we'll set up the meeting, and then do we,
Motion to postpone definitely to March 3rd.
Yeah.
thank you.
Did y'all hear that? A motion to postpone indefinitely till March
Definitely.
3rd.
Definitely.
Definitely, March 3rd.
Right. Do I hear a motion to postpone definitely to March 3rd?
So moved.
Mr. Wadley? Second?
Second.
Mr. Ellum? Second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. I hear no nays, 5-0. Thank you. Thank both of you, gentlemen. Appreciate that.
I would like to add one more thank you to Mr. Reeves. I bet that when he became our Texas EMS director, he never dreamed he'd be building 3 facilities. So I know this is not in your normal bailiwick of work, and we appreciate your expertise and whatever you can do to make things happen. You're making it happen, so thank you. And appreciate the 5 boxes running, providing service to the whole county. That's huge. I remember years ago when I was on that board, county commissioner and I were both wanting four boxes active, and it was a battle to try to get that done. But under your leadership, now we have 5. So thank you.
Okay, we'll move to 7.3, consider approving work order number 51 for engineering services with Inprotec Hibbs and Todd and the City of Granbury for the Lift Station 9 Relocation Improvement Project number 16-6523 under the General Services Agreement and the lump sum basis for $140,000, and consider adopting ordinance number 26-09, amending the operating budget for the utility and enterprise capital funds for fiscal year 2025-26. Mr. Kaufman?
So thank you, Mayor, Council. This item has been a lingering item for quite some time. It's gotten to the point where we really need to address it, and I've got Chester Nolan, our Director of Public Works here, can answer questions for you. But we do have a couple of pictures, I believe, maybe in here. You can see the location, that little yellow rectangle in there, nestled back off of that little road. And it actually, can you go, you got another picture there. You can see it there. And you see that cone on top of that, that's the wet well for that lift station. And you can see that the slope is there. The issue is the access to that and the possibility of erosion continuing. And so we feel like we need to engage the engineering firm to figure out the best solution. One of the solutions may be to build a retaining wall around that thing and build up the site where you can get a piece of equipment in there to pull those pumps or reconstruct completely. We need to engage them to get started down that path. Now then, we do have money in some unappropriated bond funds that we borrowed from the Texas Water Development Board at about 1% interest that's going to be refunded to us after we close out successfully all the paperwork for the South Sewer Plant project, and we can fund for this entire project with those bond funds to reimburse what we're talking about amending. You want to add some more information to that, Director?
That's pretty much all of it. That particular lift station is
Can you turn the microphone on?
That lift station's pretty hard to get into with our crew to do any kind of maintenance on it. The truck has to back down a slope, and it's pretty steep. We have to put blocks under the rear wheels to keep it from sliding on down the end of the creek. And it's something that's needed for, as Chris said, for some time. It's really at the point where it's critical, and we need to move forward with it. I don't know if any of you have had the opportunity to look at it, but it's a pretty tricky deal. Just need to get it done.
And we anticipate if we have to rebuild this from ground up, relocate it at a different location in that neighborhood, probably looking at total capital improvement costs around $1 million, $1.2 million. So it's an expensive project. And do you know how many homes it serves, roughly?
I believe it's some 60 or plus or minus.
Yeah. So you can think inflation, something like this should cost about $300,000. Now it's over $1 million, so things just keep skyrocketing in our world. Yeah. And you can see that it's in very poor condition. And unfortunately, lift stations don't get a lot of attention.
No.
They're not sexy.
Is it a private yard next door, or the?
Do you know what that is on the other side of that retaining wall?
No. By the retaining wall?
Can you go back to that other picture, please? There you go. To the left.
To the left.
That's somebody's yard?
Yes. That's the whole area is on either side is a residential neighborhood. We have to back down an easement, and we have electricity that runs down that easement also. On one side, you can see the transformer box there by the station or by the lift station. That brick wall there's a residence right adjacent to it, and then on the right-hand side of the picture, there is another residence, and it's bordered by a brick wall also. The ultimate thing that it looks like we'll need to do is cut some of that slope down so that the trucks can get in there and be able to work on the lift station, in addition to just the condition of the lift station itself. It all needs to be rehabilitated or completely rebuilt.
Relocated, rehabilitated, something. We'll trust the engineer to come up with good recommendations.
Do you have an estimate of how old this is? How long it's been there?
This was one of the very first lift stations. It's one of the oldest that we have in service. Mayor, I couldn't hazard a guess. I'd say at least 40 years.
Well, we got our money's worth.
Okay. That's not insurable.
As long as it pumps.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, it's insured.
Okay.
If you can look down on the right-hand side of the lift station there, you see a gray pipe, and it crosses the,
Previous picture. There you go.
there you go, you can see it crosses the creek, and we have effluent that comes across the creek and goes into that lift station also. So it serves a number of residences around that area.
So this is for the engineering firm to say to us,
Yes, sir, this is
Re-
just for the engineering
Yeah.
to get it done, and the projected cost is something around $1 million.
For the
Yeah.
construction, the engineering is 140,000.
Yeah,
right?
the engineering is just 140, or just 140.
so if the cost was, could you move it to some other location that would be more amenable long-term for $1.5 million, or
Well,
We need to
Mayor,
look at all
our
is that what this is?
Our opportunities to move it are pretty limited. We're looking at, one of the locations is in the middle of that cul-de-sac. Obviously, it'd have to be below ground, but we're pretty limited. Chris Hay with EHT is here, and he's also familiar with it, could probably explain a little bit about it.
Good evening. We made a site visit with staff and looked at just moving the lift station up the hill a little bit in the existing easement. That's likely the most cost-effective route to go rather than back up in the cul-de-sac. But we will, as part of this preliminary engineering, look at other options to kind of maintain, if we can, the existing wet well and rehab it with a retaining wall or something like that to help stabilize the slope. But I think even if we relocated, I think that if we can fit it in that existing easement, it would still be in the ballpark of that $1 million estimate range.
Thank you. Okay. Questions, anybody? Do I hear a motion to approve work order number 51 for engineering services with Improtech Hibbs and Todd?
So moved.
Mr. Wadley makes a motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Okay. That motion will pass 5-0. Do we need to make another motion to adopt the ordinance?
Right, yeah.
Do I hear a motion to adopt ordinance number 2609, amending the operating budget for the utility and enterprise capital funds for fiscal 2025-26?
So moved.
Councilman Parker.
Second.
Mr. Allen makes the second. Mr. Oberdire made the second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. That too will pass 5-0. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, both of you. Consider number 7.4, consider approving work order number 52 for engineering services with Improtech Hibbs and Todd and the City of Granbury for Knox 1 ground storage tank rehabilitation, project number 166523, under the General Services Agreement in a lump sum basis for $105,000, and consider adopting ordinance number 2610, amending the operating budget for the utility and enterprise capital funds for the fiscal year 2025-26. Mr. Kaufman?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I would like to just add on, this is a large project that, as you can see in that little blue marked area, there are 2 tanks there now. As you may recall, our capital improvement plan had us build what we call the new Knox 1 ground storage tank. And the old tank is in dilapidated condition. On the top lid, it's completely corroded. We've got some issues that it needs to be rehabilitated. We were going to tear it down when we built Knox 1, the new tank. And after getting into it and researching it and talking to the engineers, we thought there might be a better path to save this instead of demoing it and rehab, remove the top, repair with new steel, go in and rehab the entire tank with new, sandblasting, epoxy, and make it operational again to where we don't lose that tank. The beautiful part about all this is y'all approved a change order when we were building the new tank to allow for an interconnect between the old tank and the new tank, and we've got that installed, and so really we're to the point now where we can move forward to rehab this tank, should you so desire. That was the original intention when we made the change order to do the piping to connect the two. Another benefit that this does is it provides additional water for the hospital and the schools in that it serves in that western water plane. And as you're aware, we're attempting in our capital improvement plan to run a loop system from the ground storage tank on Loop 567 to this water line system. And so we've got great piping going to this system that would accommodate the ground storage of approximately 2 million gallons at any time. And as our community grows, the more connections you have, the more above ground storage you need, and this would help achieve those goals as well. But you can see that the top is rusted out. When they built that tank decades ago, they installed a chlorination system on this tank and what we call NOx 2 tank, which is down the hill, which is a 500,000 gallon tank. Not pictured, it's down the hill, but when they built it, they put the chlorination system at the top of the water system instead of down low, and so all that does is cause extensive corrosion where there's not water. Where the air was touching it, that chlorinated air was rich in chlorine, so it would corrode that. And so, like the manhole, when you gain access to go inside that tank, and the ladder is unsafe, you can't use it, and so we're proposing to rehab that tank at this time. You can see the new tank. It's a concrete tank like we built at the water treatment plant, and it holds 1 million gallons, and we prefer the concrete construction for newer tanks, but this old tank still has some life in it, and we feel like if we rehab it, we can get another few decades out of it. And Chester said that to me the other day that we're currently using both tanks, and but they've got the Siamese relationship going. And so another benefit to having the two tanks is if one needs to be repaired, you don't lose your capacity. So you have still 1 million gallons on site at any time you would need it for firefighting and for emergency situations. Good.
Any questions?
Yes.
Parker?
How many gallons is it currently, the old?
Million gallons.
Both of them are a million?
Both tanks are 1 million gallons.
Okay. And you said we're using this right now?
We're using both of those.
That looks
We can-
unhealthy. Okay,
Well,
I didn't have privy to these
you're-
photos
yeah.
in what I was sent. So just seeing this now, we're drinking that?
Well, that's where the water's not. You got to realize it's
Okay.
not rusted like that where the water is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just asking.
We rotate between the two tanks back and forth so that neither one of them becomes stagnant.
And just to put an exclamation point, the water is high quality. We still have a superior water rating
Yes.
from TCEQ for our drinking water. So just because it looks bad doesn't mean it is bad.
Okay.
Don't judge a book by its cover.
Well, that's what they say about me, but okay.
But I agree with you. It does look bad and it needs to be addressed. And
Good
What
question.
is the cost of new?
Chris,
I
you
think
want to talk about that?
Initial estimate on it was in excess of $250,000. Chris may have a better.
When we built the new tank, it was $1 million.
1 million.
Isn't that right?
No, the new tank
It was
was
$2 million.
right around $2 million, yes.
The one we built at the water treatment plant was $1 million, and that's how much it went up since 2017. Yeah.
Chris, I do have a question, if you don't mind, on the work order on the task and the compensation. I'm a little naive on this maybe, but I understand task 1 being the design documents, but this bidding phase,
Yeah,
can
so-
you explain what exactly that entails? Because it's quite a bit of the whole
I can explain,
budget.
and that's a great question, because I was reviewing that in my seat. And the fees for the bidding phase and the design phase are actually transposed on the work order. The bidding phase should be the lower amount, and the design phase should be the higher amount. So it was just a typo between the task and the work order cost. The costs are right, but the higher cost that you see should be for the design documents. So in this case, I think I have it right here if I can speak to it. The task 1 should be bidding phase with that fee associated to it, and then task 2 should be design phase with the higher fee associated with that, if that makes sense.
And I guess I just have a follow-up question to that. When you're designing, is it $60,000 to rehab something appropriate? Please
Yeah,
explain that to me. That's a lot of money.
It is, and this is also a big project, but they'll be completely redoing the roof, structural design for the roof, and then the coating system inside and outside. We're also doing a valve vault outside for the interconnect and operation of filling this tank independently of the other tank. So there will be a few things not just associated with the tank along with that design.
Good questions.
Well, I guess I'll just follow up with that task 3. So the actual cost of this, separate and apart from the bidding and the design, is $15,000 for us.
So that's
work?
construction administration phase. So from our services, we maintain work through the construction phase of the project, which would be a pre-construction conference, reviewing submittals for the project, pay apps as they come along, and also making site visits periodically throughout construction.
This is just engineering. Thank you, Dr.
Yes.
I didn't understand that, so that's clarification.
So
Thank you.
once we get the engineering complete, we'll advertise bids and then bring the construction contract back for consideration. Yeah.
Good questions. Other questions? Good. Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve work order number 52 for engineering services with Improtech Hibbs and Todd and the City of Granbury for Knox 1 ground storage tank rehab?
So moved.
Ms. Parker makes a motion. Second.
Second.
Mr. Ella makes a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. That passes 6-0.
Thank you, Mayor.
5-0. I wrote down 5. So, now consider adopting ordinance number 2610, amending the operating budget for the utility and enterprise capital funds for fiscal 25-26. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Wadley, second.
Second.
Mr. Olive makes a second. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. I hear no nays. That too will pass 5-0. Very good. Okay, number 8. Agenda item number 8 is citizen comments on matters not on the agenda. Speakers have a time limit of 3 minutes for a combined total of 30 minutes allotted at this time. Comments regarding matters not listed on the agenda, the City Council will be allowed to receive input or information. For future agenda items will not be allowed to enter into any discussion. So I have 6 people signed up. I have Mr. Joe Jones. If you come up and we've got the mic on, but if you just give us your name and address, that'd be great.
Name and address?
Yes, please.
Hi, my name is Joe Jones. My address is 3208 Bowie Street here in Granbury. I think what I'm about to talk about kind of goes par for the course of what y'all have been talking about, which is the growth of Granbury. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Joe Jones, and I'm here to officially introduce myself to the City of Granbury and Hood County. I'm here because I believe this community is ready for something better for our kids. I'm here to help change the culture of youth sports, and we are starting with baseball. Granbury is now a 6A school district. That means our expectations, our standards, and our preparation must rise with that growth. If we want our kids to compete, to believe in themselves, and to stay rooted in this community, then we must start investing in them now, not later. In just the past 3 months, our community has spoken loudly. What we have built through the Granbury Youth Baseball Association is nothing short of amazing. Hundreds of families, dozens of volunteers, and a shared vision that says our kids deserve more. This isn't about replacing anyone or any organization. This is about collaboration, fairness, and opportunity. We have a meeting with the Parks and Recreation Department this Thursday to discuss splitting the fields accordingly to enrollment by age group, and we are very excited about that because we believe every organization that serves kids deserves a seat at the table. This movement starts with baseball, but it does not end there. This is about building a stronger generation, a stronger community, and a culture that truly puts kids first. So tonight, my call to action is simple. Partner with us, support us, and also hold us accountable. Help us create a system that is fair, transparent, and centered on what is best for the kids of Granbury, not on tradition, not on convenience, but on impact. I am here to lead. I am here to serve. And I'm here to work with this city, not against it, to build something that our children will be proud to grow up in. Let's raise the bar together. Let's change the culture together. And let's show our kids that Granbury believes in them. Thank you for your time. Thank you for standing with our youth. My name is Joe Jones. I'm the president of the Granbury Youth Baseball Association and Play It Forward Fitness. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jones. Appreciate it. And now I have Ms. Eva Piat. Pat? You're going to, yes, press the red button, and then I think you'll need to pull that down. Can you get it? There you go. A little bit more. There you go. Go ahead.
My name is Eva Piat. I live at 406 East Bridge Street, which is just a couple of blocks away. You are the city council, and you are elected to represent us, especially the thousands of kids in Granbury who can't vote yet. You were not elected to represent your own wishes. This data center will pollute Granbury and use valuable resources such as water and electricity, not to mention noise pollution. Just because I'm a minor does not mean I don't understand economics. I do. I understand that this data center will make money, which will be used for the city, but is it worth it? The huge tank by the bridge in large letters says that Granbury is the best historic small town in Texas. Not to mention that we were also the festival capital of Texas. How historic do you think Granbury will seem if we have a huge data center less than a mile from our square? Please don't make Granbury lose what it's known for.
Thank you, Ms. Piat. Very good job. Thank you. Mr. Daniel Piat.
You got the nice one first. Sorry about that. My name is Daniel Piat. I live at 406 East Bridge Street, just down the street here in Granbury. 4 weeks ago, I watched as over 150 people appeared in these chambers to clearly express their opposition to Project Patriot, as I'm sure you guys are aware. We've all since learned the city's been interacting with bilateral energy for over 6 months. The rest of us learned it. I guess you guys already knew about that. And so it's fine. Maybe you didn't realize at the time the level of pushback there would be to a project like this. But after the council meeting on the 6th, I thought, surely the city manager, the mayor, the council will get the memo, we'll get a response accordingly. However, much like the condescension directed at citizens during that January 6th council meeting, the disdain seems to continue. In next door post Mr. Coffin made about a week ago, he stated, "The city's not your adversary, we're doing what citizens of Granbury want." And in many cases, I believe that's true. In this case, maybe you didn't hear it the first 150 times, so I'll repeat it again. We don't want this type of development in our city. I get that it would bring in money, just like Eva said, but that's not all that matters. There's a Bible story I'm sure you guys are familiar with that illustrates it's not worth selling your birthright for a bowl of soup. Granbury was here 160 years before Bilateral Energy came along and offered to spend their money here, and will be around for 160 years after they're gone. I don't think most folks in Granbury are blindly anti-development. In fact, there's a massive development going on right next to Home Depot. There wasn't 150 people that showed up to protest that, at least not that I'm aware of. And why is that? It's because that development fits into the character of our city, and it makes sense. As we all know, Mr. Kaufman sent a letter back in July, along with approval of all of you guys, practically begging Bilateral Energy to come here and build. In that letter, he said, our staff and leadership are aligned in supporting Project Patriot every step of the way. We'll remain an accessible, engaged partner as you bring this landmark project to life. But that wasn't enough. And then you guys offered to give the farm away 60% tax abatements, jetty tax abatements. You had presentations to convince GISD this would be a good thing. And then you came up with tactics to garner community support. Why was that necessary? Because you must have sensed that this whole thing was going to go over like a pregnant pole vaulter. Now, hearing all that, it sounds almost like a city council and city manager that are more concerned about courting a couple of Louisiana billionaires than they are about representing the people who elected them. So there are three things that need to happen. First, you say you want to do what the citizens want. You guys send out the flash surveys, which I think are awesome. I appreciate that you do that. So this week, send out a survey and ask all the citizens of the city how they feel about data centers and power plants being in the city limits. We'll know within 24 hours what the answer is. I think that'd be good information to have. Second, do your job and be proactive. Rescind the letter offering tax abatements and other perks that were offered, just like the county commissioners did last week. And third, don't just do the bare minimum. Do everything within your legal power as a municipality to prevent developments like this from being built in our city limits, just like many other cities across our country have done. You guys have lost the public's trust on this issue, and I sincerely hope you'll work to earn it back. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Fiat. Hamlet Piguero.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. There's a well-known cautionary tale, the Trojan horse. Something that appeared harmless, even admirable, was welcome inside the city walls. Only later did people learn what it actually contained, and by then it was too late. Bilateral Energy is that Trojan horse, being pulled into our city under the name Project Patriot. The public record now shows a timeline that directly conflicts with what residents were told on January 6th. Public information requests show that in July of 2025, the city manager was already aware of plans for a project on the Knox Ranch property and issued a formal letter supporting it. In September of 2025, the city's Director of Economic Development was communicating directly with Bilateral Energy's president about tax abatements, development matters related to this project. Yet residents, including myself, were repeatedly told that the city had not been approached. Then on January 2nd, just about 4 days before our meeting on January 6th, the entire City Council and Economic Development staff traveled to Dallas for an off-site visit related to the project. Email shows concerns about quorums and instructions to stagger attendance. That lack of transparency is why I'm here today. My name is Hamlet Piguero, and I live on Meadowwood Road, the road where this project is coming. Let me be very clear about what is being planned. This is not a warehouse. This is not a single building with computer servers. This is a power generation campus. Multiple large generation units operating together as a continuous industrial system. And its sole purpose is to power data centers. According to permit filings, the site included multiple gas turbine engines, jet engines bolted to the ground, and linear generators designed and permitted for continuous operation. These are not backup generators. They're intended to run day and night year-round. That means the noise is not intermittent, it is constant. TCQ permits do not take noise into consideration. These generators produce sustained low-frequency noise layered with high-frequency noise from exhaust, cooling systems, rotating machinery, and all other kinds of equipment. The noise will carry, especially at night, and closed windows will not stop it. Add to that continuous industrial lighting, security lighting. Touring a data center, Shell does not prepare anyone for living next to an active power generation campus. And calling it Project Patriot doesn't reduce the noise, doesn't dim lights, doesn't change the lived reality for nearby residents. I'm not opposed to technology or progress, but facilities of this scale belong far away from the city limits in residential neighborhoods, not next to homes, schools, and families. That is the lesson of the Trojan horse. Once something like this is brought inside the walls, its impact cannot be undone. Our request is simple. Do not bring this project into our city and next to our homes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peguero. Ms. Meredith Bennett.
Good evening. I'm here along with the other people. There's not a lot of people here because we can't get our questions answered. I live very close to the Knox Ranch, and I will be hearing it all the time. Sam Houston wrote an editorial that I couldn't get put in the paper. It talked about change is inevitable. Make informed decision goes to the very core of building gas plants and data centers in our backyards and community as a whole. Mr. Houston states, stop having contempt before investigation. Ask questions. During the City Council meeting on 1/6/26, the Knox Ranch, 2,000 plus acres, was annexed into the city for Project Patriot, despite clear opposition from speakers and those in the audience. The City Council said multiple times during the meeting they had no idea what the acreage was for. Their intentions were made clear in letters sent out in July and September. Chris Kaufman, City Manager, Shay Hopkins, Director of Economic Development Department, and Judge Ron Massengale, Hood County Commissioners, extending support and incentive package over for Project Patriot and personal property. Hood County citizens have not been allowed to ask questions to be answered, so informed decisions cannot be made. In fact, why would the people that govern our community not ask imperative questions to these companies and research the negative effects, short-term and long-term, for themselves to protect our environment resources prior to Project Patriot and Comanche projects off of Biloxi near Toller? We know you did not protect the community that lives around the crypto mining facility, horrendous continual noise affecting health and making property unsellable. It looks like these data centers may be done deals. There is smart infrastructure out there, and some companies, such as probably not the ones coming to our county, have renewable energy and effective cooling systems to reduce power and water consumption, which you should demand for your community, but you have to do the research. There was an article in the Dallas Morning News, A Deepening Crisis, Search for Scarce Water Strains Communities, quotes Ron Kaiser, who is a professor of water law and policy at Texas A&M University. He said, ignorance comes from not knowing any better. Stupidity comes from knowing we are running low on water but abusing it anyways. And that article goes on to talk about the people that drill wells in our community and up in Bella, up there in Aledo, that are already having horrendous water problems. And these drillers have to go down hundreds of more feet to get to our aquifers where this people, are getting their water. So, the problem is, you, the council, have abused your power, and you are choosing money, and you have no respect for the residents of the community who have voiced loud and clear what they think about data centers and gas turbine power plants in our backyards and community. And that's all my time's up.
Thank you, Ms. Bennett. Mr. Kenneth Metter.
Good evening, Mayor, Council.
Mr. Metter.
My name is Kenneth Metter. I actually live in Biloxi. I'm a rancher. I was a police officer for 32 and a half years in the city of Cleburne. I've dealt with different things that happen within municipal governments. Years ago, they had some chemical plants that wanted to go into the city of Cleburne, and they wanted tax abatements. Due to the nature of their business, they were hard on natural resources that were available in the city of Cleveland. And the city refused to give them tax abatements because it was not a good fit. There's been letters that have been sent out to the different data centers. There's approximately 700 proposed or under construction in the state of Texas. They're wanting to go everywhere. We don't have the water to support all these things. When agreements are made for an abatement, consider if a project is going forward, if you're going to allow an abatement, put conditions on that abatement, that they have to use extra scrubbers on their exhaust, that they have to mitigate the water usage by using the absolute best systems to mitigate the amount of water. Then they have discharge water, wastewater. Make sure that they use the best, top-notch filtration systems for that. Otherwise, they'll be dumping wastewater back in, and it's going to have some bad chemicals in it. If they violate the terms with the reports that are required to provide and the monitoring systems that are available, they lose their abatement. So, and decommissioning of these facilities is extremely expensive. The legislature came in last session and put laws in effect where if they have a best system in place, they have to have those best systems decommissioned. They have to pay for that and return the land to its pristine condition. We need to do that with the facility itself. These are large facilities. If these people go out of business, they leave for whatever reason, there needs to be an escrow account to decommission those sites so that that land will actually be usable again and remove these huge buildings that would not be purposeful for anything else. So since my time is running short, we need to take a little bit of time and make sure that we take care of this community. You want to be a tourism community. You're proud of the historic designations for this community. We need to protect that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. I would also just like to thank every one of you. Thank you for the input. We appreciate you speaking up and speaking up so clearly, so professionally. It's very well done. Thank you. We'll now move to number 9. And I believe we will go into executive session, discussion of matters permitted by the following sections: Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, consultation with attorney pending or contemplated litigation, 072, deliberation regarding real property, and 087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations. We are now adjourned into executive session. Okay, we're now reconvening into Granbury City Council reconvenes into open session. There was no action taken in closed session. All council members are present with the exception of Mr. Corrigan. So, council, is there any other business?
No, sir.
No? 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 There being no other meeting and no other business, I announce the meeting adjourned.